Right on. Gotta light my cigarette. I'm not even saying the F word this time. I only do that, gives reason for people to say he's just crazy and stupid and don't listen. Because when I don't, then you get serious. Like 10 years ago, well, probably a little more than that, 13 years ago, I did use this thing called repeal that motherfucker, remember? Talk about 21st Amendment. Because we can. Apparently you can repeal things, just like the Supreme Court just repealed Roe v. Wade, which, you know, right? Which is crazy because it brings up this other argument back in the day. Because I asked the question, you know, for pot smokers, weed smokers, cannabis, whatever, marijuana. Since the 60s, all these organizations, that's what you call them, we're doing all this stuff to help you be able to smoke weed. You know, and this old guy, this one, comes out here and I says, why don't you just put it on your state constitutional ballot? Why don't you just let the people decide? People thought that was just crazy. There's no way, no way. Yeah, let them see what happens. Yeah, look what happened. Send them into a tailspin. That's the first tailspin I put you in. Isn't it? Powers that be. One man. Like that Transformers movie. One man! Alone! With the idea. Put it on the ballot. Let the people figure it out. And look what happened. You know, so many people smoking weed, they don't know what to do. Because now these organizations that were doing all this stuff, well, they don't even have a job. Right? If I was to suggest another tailspin scenario, right? Because the thing you gotta know is all of these organizations that was trying to do whatever they do with the marijuana issue had one thing in common. Non-profit. Almost all of them, if not all of them. And for 40 years, these non-profits filled their pockets while you still got busted every other week until you put it on the ballot. What if American taxpayer, because the non-profits don't pay taxes. So when it's time to pay taxes for you American taxpayers, the tax-exempt status guys, they don't care. They're going to say, yep, raise their taxes, because they don't care about you, because they ain't paying them. You are. Theirs. What if, America, you put on your state constitutional ballot to abolish 501c3, 501c4, Magna Carta, and any other non-profit status? So it's gone forever. Right? Because these non-profit organizations are supposedly bound by law not to sway you in a vote. You want to watch that change real fast? Even the fucking atheists will be buddying up to the most serious Christian, Muslim, whatever organizations. Because see, now if they lose their non-profit tax-exempt status because we voted it, they can't get grants, right? For all the Christians who think that whatever, Muslims are taking your Christian taxpayer money and shipping it right out of the country. Oh, they are. And so is the Catholics, because that money's going to Rome. And the Latino situation going to Spain. American taxpayer dollar funneled out of the country to tax non-profit organizations. Oh, they'll help you out all they want. You know how? They go to the government and get a grant. Where do the grants come from? Taxpayer money. Oh, it's getting funnier as we go, huh? What if, you just got to get on the ballot. Good luck with that one, folks. But if you did, like all these Jewish temples or synagogues, pay taxes on the money that building is worth. Muslims, mosques, taxes. Churches and church-run schools, taxes. Private schools and all that, pay their taxes. The teachers and them don't get no tax-exempt status. Now they got to pay their taxes. You want to watch your tax code change, America? You want to see tailspin? Take control of the narrative. Right? Now we get along with something else. You just got to get it on the ballot. Good luck with that one. Every Hollywood artist will be telling you how to vote. Every musician, every athlete, every influencer on this damn YouTube. You just have to ignore them and just vote and say, yeah, you're paying taxes too, bitches. Why I say a lot of Christian, I think would come out all right. Comparatively to the rest. Not the zealot Christians either, like Trump. Talking secular, tax-paying, hard-working Americans. Big clue. When a person say I'm a Christian, means your money's going out of the country. If a person says he's a Catholic, out of the country. If he says he's a Jew, going out of the country. Muslim, out of the country. India, out of the country. All your money's going over there, buddy. Through funneling. It's cool. But now, let's get on to a different topic. What do they call it? The CE5 protocols. I did it. I didn't even use a laser. I didn't have no night vision goggles. I just talked to the alien beings, and they told me this is what's going on. So I got a brain. It's my idea to start with. It's not like something they came up with, the Tic Tac. That's my child. You don't believe it? I'll tell you how it works. Many of you have these little kitty cat lasers. You know, you can let your animals run around and chase a little red light. You do, right? But if you got two of them, I can point one laser out here like this, and then another laser like that. And every time it crosses that laser, it's going to flash up, doesn't it? It does. But to try to hold that beam there, very hard with just your hands because you're shaky. I stand a pretty good chance because I can take a picture of a star and hold it with my hand at up there on 2000 zoom and maintain the where people just snagged on my jet. Told them they could, but not for the reasons they did. Side talk. But you can hook these lasers and just line them up. And there'll be a bright spot right there. Tic Tac. A Tic Tac. See that light craft? Yep, Tic Tac. Two beams of light that cross. That's about all it is. But what if in your house you say, you went and got yourself a, I don't know, 5-foot piece of wood, like a 2x4 or something like that, you could mount some stuff on, you know. And you're going to mount a couple of lasers on that. A couple of red ones, you know. You can use different colors because when they cross, they're different colors, right? A red light and a blue light, purple UFO. If you got a blue light and a green light, it'll be like yellow. And if you got 3 lasers, you can do any color you want. Tic Tac. In your room, it's going to be small. Right? Here's how you do it. So you got your 5 foot 2x4 or whatever, 8 foot if you want, but 5 foot would do. Or any length, because the closer they are, the shape, if I just cross them at 90s, the beam of light will be just a little pop, little dot dot. But if I put the beams together like that and tried to trace them down, now it makes it like a longer section of light to be out there in the middle of the room, right? It's in the middle of space, right? If you just cross them. So if I got me like a 5 foot section of board, and I put 2 lasers on each end of the board, right? And then fixed them, and then I got them to cross so that they're shining, and then that's perfect, right? You can do it with whatever you think you can, but you can do fine-tuning things, if I'll explain that in a minute, where you can get them really fine-tuned. If you go to that Robert Murray Smith and do Tinkercad and 3D printing, make some gear reduction 100 to 1 ratio to whatever you got to do. Changes the game. Cheap. These guys got to do it expensive, but you can do it cheap, right? But if you can get these two to line up, see, to line them up, get them all lined up and focused in. Whatever way I turn that board, if you focus them out, they're 5 feet. I got a 5 foot radius to do anything. It's going to be 5 feet because that's where they're at, right? My UFO has a 5 foot diameter radius to do whatever I want. It's going to be 5 feet. Whatever I do is going to be 5 feet out there, right there. And you'll see it if you're looking for it. Other people might not, but if you are, you'll definitely see it because them 2 lasers will be crossed all the time. They're attached to a board. And I can move that laser and that light in space. Oh, you'll still see the light on the ceiling too, right? Because you got a ceiling, right? But in space where they crossed, there'll be a light too. Yes, there will, right? With that being said, if I was to mess around with these nitwits in the desert that run around out there at Area 51, it'd be a real fun one. Just for that Greer. Is this how you're doing this? Because that's how I do a Tic Tac. Get me a 20-footer. 20-foot 2x8, you know. Something that's got some strength to it. Go out there in the desert on the back of a truck, you know, and mount that 2x8 on a system where you can do it, you know. And you're going to get you some laser pointers. You can just do 2, but I bet you can do up to however many you want. Right? And you're going to send one of your partners or by yourself, stick a target out there a mile, maybe even 2 miles away if your laser will get out that far. I think most of them, some of them will. Right? But the diffusion of light's going to go out eventually. It's not going to be great, but if you got like a telescope, you know, you can see 2 miles with a telescope. Man, light that laser up on that target, right? Yeah. Get that all lined up with a Z-axis and a Y-axis, fine-tuning, and I'm going to tune it right to this spot, that laser on the board. And on the other end of the board, I got another laser. I'm going to fine-tune right to that spot so I know that light is there. You can have another guy down there if you want, but if you got like a telescope, you're looking. All right? So you can just fine-tune these babies, and that light's going to be there. Where's it going to cross? A mile or 2 miles, whatever you got targeted. Now, instead of my little 5 foot range, when I move that board, it's going to be like a mile, right? A mile away, because that's where I got them crossing, a mile away, right? But if it's a clear night out there with nitwits in the desert, Area 51, I can be a mile or two away. Fire up my Tic Tac presenter, start flying it, just wobble it around. Just a little bit of motion's gonna go a long ways at a mile radius, so you don't have to move it very much at all. You might even put a vibrating something like a sander type, back of a sander or something to vibrate the board. Oh, it'll even give you a cooler effect, I bet. Right? For nitwits looking for UFOs in the desert. You can show them. Can? Oh, yeah. Right? Probably have Air Force pilots running after them with their look, I got it on camera, the radar's not picking it up. It went so fucking freaking fast, boom. I just had to turn my board. How fast that went. If I turn my board real fast, man, that thing will arc, I can turn it off at the same time. The UFO just disappeared. I can send it straight up in the air too. Anywhere you want to go, it's going to go in a 1 mile, 2 mile arc. And remember, because it's 20 feet away, the source lights at 2 miles or a mile, the length of crossing is going to be long. Longer than it's going to be in your little house. And the difference is, the light that goes out when you see it on the ceiling, yeah, it ain't going to be there. The only light that's going to shine in a laser crossing is where they're crossing. What? Nobody's going to see the source at a mile or 2. That's awesome. That's why I would say CE5 protocols. Shit talking. But if you want to go buy all the stuff they tell you to and meet them where they tell you to and do what they tell you to, nitwit in the desert, go ahead. Right? That's just crazy talk. That's why I don't believe, but I'm cynically skeptical. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. Sorry about the F words, but believe what you want. I choose not to. And this is for all the guru guys who are using my words, these very ones. We find God in the dark. Any of the gurus, ask them to explain that to you. I can explain it in one very good example. I'm not going to do it now, maybe in the next video. But ask them to explain to you, if they're using such a term, what it even means. In just plain English, or whatever language you speak. Because where do we find God in the darkness? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? I know what I mean by that, right? Because it has a lot to do with these sick sons of bitches whom you call devils or satans, who masquerade as an angel of light. Goes right hand in hand with that saying. Right? Because we do bring God into the light, where some people masquerade around and have no fucking clue. So what do you mean when you say we find God in the dark? I got a really good example. One of the best ones that you can probably ever come up with.